please state your name, occupation, and the position you are seeking?
My name is Dr. Michael Landeck. I'm a retired professor from TAMU, and I'm seeking to be re-elected as Councilman of District III.
Have you received any formal education?
Yes, I have a variety of educations. The highest of them is a PhD from North Texas State. Prior to that, I had my undergrad and grad in Hamburg, West Germany, in the University of Hamburg, in marketing, by the way.
And how long have you lived in the district?
Over 20 years now.
What do you think is the primary need in your district?
The most important thing is to bring up well, first of all, the structural and the infrastructural level of South Laredo in general, to bring it up to the level we have in the north, because it's the older area, older infrastructure that needs a lot of money and investments, and has a very high percentage of population that are of low socioeconomic status. So there are a lot of needs there. Some of those needs I succeeded to meet in the last 4.5 years through a variety of recreational, especially recreational facilities, all the way from the slaughter park and down to soccer fields and swimming pools and so on and so on. And I can see already now, just the soccer field, just the slaughter park itself, that it's not even finished. We have about 600 people walking around and playing in that field on a daily basis. That's an area where not many years ago people wouldn't dare to walk with the children on the streets in the evening. So we have a lot of needs in this area. Transportation needs, for example. Public transportation is horrible. It is planned on buses that run from downtown all the way to LCC South and back. It takes about 1.5 hours to get there. And the frequency of the buses is about 1.5 hours between buses. And therefore, we're having so much problems with our revenues with the buses, not because people don't want to ride the buses, but we have to provide a certain level of service that will be attractive to people to use them. And once they will, I grew up in my lifetime with public transportation. I didn't have a car until I was a PhD program somewhere. So there are a lot of things. Economic development is very, very important to me. I'm going to be working on that issue. I don't think that people from the south have to necessarily go all the way to Mines Road to work there and to shop there in downtown. I think that the ideas that I try to support of having a bridge in South Laredo, developing the whole area between Rio Bravo and El Cenizo, and the idea of having an outer loop that will really solve the transport.
And the city as a whole, what do you see as the most pressing issue, and how do you plan to address it?
The city as a whole, the most pressing issue to me would be to change the structure of city government. We moved in 1981 from patron mayor to a patron city manager. And I hope to find a structure that is somewhere between the two. I'm looking forward more to a system like in a county, where the judge is the chief executive officer. I hope that in the future the mayor will be the chief executive officer, under very close controls of the city council, so we don't get the situation of the runaway city mayor as we used to have. And with my thoughts of the city council with the city mayor to be the ones who develop the budget and not just come in at the end and rubber stamp it, and the ones who will then hire and fire all the city directors. That they will have to come 1 year in front of them, as they do in the county, present themselves to the council members as they do now, but they will be dependent on the continuation of their employment with the city upon all 8 city councilmen and the mayor, and not be just dependent upon the decision of one person. So,
And what will you do to help alleviate sewer and water line breaks in the district?
well, that's a part of the infrastructure that I was talking to you about. Unfortunately, at a certain time, councilmen before us have decided to go the route of privatizing city water systems and so on. We ended up in a catastrophe, which we have to now try to repair. So it goes back to my answer on infrastructure. But I must say that in the last 4 years, this city and these councilmen and this mayor and the city manager with his team and so on this issue, I think we were one. So we invested huge amounts of monies, and we were very lucky to be supported, of course, by good congressmen and so on, and monies that came from Washington. We invested a lot of monies into sewage and water, and we'll just have to continue there because at least we stopped putting Band-Aids on the problems. You know, it used to bust, and it come to fix it, and it used to bust 10 feet elsewhere. So we don't do that anymore. We really go there, we exchange pipes, and we put, but it's a very, 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 very expensive. Downtown itself is a huge problem, as you know. But
Your opponents may try to point out weaknesses in your campaign over the next month. What do you believe they'll say is your biggest weakness, and how will you respond?
I think, from what I hear from others, I don't think it's a weakness, really. I really think that that's a strength. I think that some people at times wonder why I'm willing to stand up and express some views very freely and very openly and very direct when I feel that something is wrong. And in some of those views I'm right, and in some of those views I'm wrong. But I do express them. Some people feel very uncomfortable and think that I'm anti-development or developers, and that's not true either. Actually, when you look at my voting record, in 98%, I think, of we vote about 70 votes every meeting. So in the 4.5 years, with all the votes that I casted, there were maybe, 1% or 2% that were different, but they were so significant. The baseball park, should it be $8 million or $18 million? Everybody's talking about it. The water source, where should it come? Everybody, is talking about it. The issue of the wetlands, saving the wetlands, was a big issue. So there are some issues that I feel that I have to draw a line in the sand, and that I need to represent, especially those that are weak in representation, which is mostly the people, because people that are well off, and I'm happy for them, and so on, they have the ways and the means and the knowledge and the connections to take care of most of their problems. And when they come to me, I'm happy to work with them. But I'm looking for the balance. And there's a great imbalance between the vast majority of people and unions and workers that need support, and I normally invest a lot of my time in supporting that group of people.
Last question, Councilman. Why should voters choose you over the other candidates?
In general, I would say it's always advantageous to have an incumbent if that incumbent has proven himself to be someone that you're comfortable with, of course. Now, if you have an incumbent that does horrible things, and I don't know what, you just feel it doesn't belong there, I don't say you have to have someone just because it's an incumbent. But it's quite clear that there is a learning process. And I think that in the 4.5 years, I've proven that I do my job, that I have the time to do the job, that I invest a lot of my time and my energy, almost all of it, for that. And I think that my being there will contribute more to the solution of the problem than others.